Good afternoon, Union Square. Mr. Vanderpool back to you with another video. Remember to keep like, sharing, and subscribing so you, me, and my fellow Scholar Talent teachers can continue to make these awesome videos for you guys. So, kindergarten and first grade scholars, this video is for you today. And today I want to talk about pins, P-I-N-S, pins. So, a pin is where you have a front piece, a middle piece, and a back piece. The front piece is the attacking piece. The middle piece is the piece that is pinned or stuck to the square. And the back piece is the piece that will be vulnerable or under attack if the middle piece attempted to move. Pins are very valuable because they help you win material. It is a chess tactic to help you win material and gain more points than your opponent so you can eventually win the game. Okay, so let's focus on this first example here. Right now, it is white to move. And I'm going to help you out and give you the middle and back pieces. This middle piece is the knight. We want our white piece, one of our white pieces, to find a way to keep this black piece stuck, this black knight stuck to the square B8. Meaning if this knight tried to move away, this king on F8 would be in check or in danger. Take a few seconds and let me know. You want to think in the sense of lines. Think about which pieces are on what lines and how we can get a piece to that same line. Excellent. If you see the 8th rank as a line, you notice that both the knight and the king are on the back rank. They are on the 8th rank lined up together. So how can we get a white piece to also line up on this 8th rank in one move? I agree. The rook goes up to A8. And once this rook goes up to A8, this knight is absolute pin. We call this an absolute pin, and I will briefly explain a relative pin to you so you know the difference. Right now, it is an absolute pin whenever the king is involved. Whenever the king is involved, the piece on B8 is absolutely stuck to the square or the king will be in danger. And we cannot illegally put our king in danger. So right now, it is black to move. The knight cannot move, so the king is forced to move. Once this king moves to E8, F7, G7, G8, or even E7, let's choose E7. What is white now able to capture for free? Yes, the knight on B8. Excellent. And now we gain 3 points, and we can start our journey towards putting this king in the corner and checkmating him. Let's try another example. Here, who can tell me what the middle and back pieces are? Remember to think on the same line. Lines are ranks, numbers, files, letters, and diagonals. Colors that meet on the same, lines that meet on the same color. Okay, so this rook on D4 is the middle piece, and this king on H8 is the back piece. So now we have this nice, interesting line pointing from the rook to the king. If only there was a piece we can put in front of the rook and keep the rook stuck, pinned to this square, so he may not move. What do we think? Okay, if you chose bishop F2, it's not quite, because it's not in the same line as the king. So this rook is now free to move and likely to just attack your king. If you said bishop C3, you are absolutely correct, because the bishop is now pinning the rook to the back piece, which is the king. And this rook is absolutely pinned to this square, okay? If this rook attempts to move, what will be happening to the black king? I agree, this black king would be in check, in danger. So even as I'm trying to move it right now, the computer will not allow me to move it because we cannot allow our king to be in danger. So once this king is forced to move, because we have no other pieces, I am now able to take this rook with check. This time, I want us to find 3 different ways we can pin the rook to the king. Pause your videos and try and figure it out. Awesome. So if you notice the last example, I pretty much gave you the same example, but just so you can recognize that bishops and queens can both attack on the diagonal. So we have this similar square of queen C3. If queen goes to C3, the rook is absolutely pinned. because the king would be in danger. Notice I'm going to move to dark squares and control this entire diagonal. Yes, B2 is an answer. The rook is absolutely stuck because the king would be in check if it were to move, but it cannot because you cannot move into check. Lastly, Queen A1, you are absolutely correct. Pinning the rook to the king, and once this king moves in every single example, gobble gobble, early Thanksgiving, you can take this rook on d4. Black's turn to move. Find a pin and say out loud what would be your front piece, your middle piece, and your back piece. Also point out which piece is absolutely stuck. Great. If you said bishop c5, you are absolutely correct. The bishop is the front piece, rook is the middle piece, king is the back piece. Once my king is forced to move away, gobble gobble on that rook. Let's try another one. Black's turn to move. 100%. Remember to pause your videos if you need more time. Rook over to c7. Front piece is the rook, middle piece is the knight, back piece is the king. My question to you right now is, what kind of line are we creating a pin on? Is this a rank, a file, or a diagonal? I agree with you. It is a file, but how do you know? Yes, by looking at the letter. So what letter are we creating this pin on? Absolutely, the C file. Once this king moves away, gobble gobble, take that knight. That knight is 3 points. One more example here. This one is a very interesting example because it's going to lead into something that I don't want to complicate you guys. I don't want to complicate it for you guys today. But when we have a pin piece, we also want to attack more and build up more pressure on that piece. We call it PP on the PP. We put pressure on pin pieces. So right now, your job is just to find the pin. It is black to move. How can we pin one piece to another? Excellent. If you said queen c5, you're absolutely correct. The front piece is the queen. The middle piece would be this rook on f2. The back piece would be the king on g1. But notice, I could get out of the pin and move my king to f1. But notice, because this king is a second attacker on this rook, I am now able to capture. Without explaining too much, this would be checkmate. The king has nowhere to run away. The queen controls all the surrounding squares. Now, before we end today's video, I do want to explain a relative pin to you. Now, a relative pin means the piece is absolutely not stuck. That means the back piece is a piece that is not the king. So, the front piece is the bishop, the middle piece is the rook, and the back piece is the queen. Meaning, you know what? If you don't want to keep your rook here, you absolutely can move it anywhere you want. It is totally legal because the king would not be in danger. But it does mean if you move this piece, something more valuable, more than likely, something more valuable than this rook is worth 5 points, the queen is worth 9, will get captured. So more than likely, even though it is a relative pin, you probably want to move your piece away. And then when it's captured, you lose the 5-point piece, you're able to capture here. If you like today's video, again, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so myself and all the other awesome Scholar Talent teachers can continue to make this awesome content for you. Parents, remember, I have gold memberships left. They say some may expire, but I do have graduating 4th graders in the coming weeks. So if you would like a Chess Kid account, please reach out to me and I will be able to create one and provide your scholar. They should do the lessons as they will continue to grow and expand on their chess knowledge. You may email me if you need, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.